The impossible signal commander Zef Corvani had been staring at the same display screen for 3 hours. His 4 eyes blinked in sequence as he tried to make sense of what his senses were telling him. The readings were impossible, completely against everything the Corvani Empire knew about that region of space. "Run the scan again, Lieutenant Voss," Zef commanded, his voice carrying the authority of someone who had spent 40 years patrolling the outer boundaries of Corvani territory. There must be interference from the nearby nebula. Lieutenant Voss, a younger Corvani with bright purple skin markings that indicated his recent graduation from the military academy, pressed several controls on his console. The same readings appeared on the central display. His voice trembled slightly as he spoke. "Sir, I have run the scan 7 times. The sensors are functioning perfectly. The energy signatures are real." Zef felt his secondary heart skip a beat. The energy readings were coming from the Terran sector, a region of space that had been dead and empty for 200 years. According to every historical record in the Corvani database, the humans who once lived there had been completely eliminated during the Great Cleansing of 2157. The Empire had made sure of that. "Contact High Admiral Thrain immediately," Zef ordered. "Use the emergency channel." Within minutes, the imposing figure of High Admiral Thrain appeared on the communication screen. Thrain was a massive Corvani, standing nearly 9 feet tall, with the deep blue skin coloration that marked him as a member of the warrior caste. His voice rumbled like distant thunder when he spoke. "Commander Zef, this better be worth interrupting my strategy meeting. We are planning the expansion into the Outer Rim territories. Sir, we are detecting massive energy signatures from the Terran sector. The readings suggest industrial activity on a scale we have never seen before." Admiral Thrain's expression changed from annoyance to confusion, then to something approaching concern. "That is impossible, Commander. The Terran sector has been empty since we cleansed it of the human infestation 2 centuries ago. Your sensors must be malfunctioning." "Sir, we have checked our equipment multiple times. The energy signatures are consistent with massive shipbuilding operations, advanced manufacturing, and what appears to be a significant population." The Admiral's face darkened. "Commander, are you suggesting that humans somehow survived the Great Cleansing? Our forces were thorough. We destroyed every human colony, every ship, every trace of their primitive civilization." Zef looked at his display again. The energy readings were getting stronger by the hour. "Sir, I cannot explain what we are seeing, but something is happening in the Terran sector. Something big." Far away, in a star system that did not appear on any Corvana map, Dr. Elena Vasquez stood in the central laboratory of the hidden human research station called Haven Prime. She was a small woman with graying hair and intense brown eyes that had seen too much suffering. Her hands moved quickly across a holographic interface as she monitored the construction of humanity's greatest secret. Dr. Vasquez called her assistant, Dr. James Park. "The Corvani have detected our energy signature. Long-range sensors show increased activity at their border monitoring stations." Elena nodded grimly. "It was inevitable. We have been building for 200 years. Our industrial output is now too large to hide completely." She turned to look through the massive viewing windows of the laboratory. Spread out before her was the most incredible sight in human history. Thousands of ships floated in the vast construction bays of Haven Prime. These were not the primitive vessels that humans had possessed 2 centuries ago. These ships were sleek, powerful, and built with technology that the Corvani Empire could not even imagine. The Great Cleansing had been meant to eliminate humanity completely. The Corvani had attacked without warning, destroying Earth's colonies one by one. Billions of humans had died. But a small group of survivors, led by Dr. Vasquez's grandfather, had managed to escape to this hidden system. They had spent 2 centuries in hiding, growing their population, advancing their technology, and preparing for the day when they would face the Corvani again. "How many ships do we have now?" Elena asked. 2,043 combat vessels completed, with 500 more nearing completion. Each ship is equipped with quantum drive systems, plasma shielding, and our new particle beam weapons. Elena smiled for the first time in months. "The Corvani think they destroyed us. They have no idea what we have become. Back at the monitoring station, Commander Zeph received new orders from High Admiral Thrain. An investigation fleet was being dispatched to the Terran sector to determine the source of the energy signatures. The fleet consisted of 50 Corvani warships, more than enough to handle any potential threat. 3 days later, the Corvani investigation fleet arrived at the edge of the Terran sector. Captain Brudok, the fleet commander, was confident that they would find nothing more than a malfunction in the long-range sensors. His ship, the Deathbringer, was one of the most powerful vessels in the Corvani Navy. Begin scanning the system, Brudok ordered. I want to know the source of these energy readings. His science officer, a nervous Corvani named Kelton, worked frantically at his console. Suddenly, his face went pale. Captain, I am detecting multiple ships. Very large ships. They are moving toward our position. How many ships? Brudok demanded. I count 50, no, 100. Captain, there are over 300 vessels approaching us. Each one is larger than our biggest battleships. Through the viewing screen, the Corvani could see lights appearing in the darkness of space. One by one, human ships emerged from stealth mode, their hulls gleaming with advanced armor plating and their weapons systems glowing with barely contained energy. Captain Brudok stared in disbelief. These ships looked nothing like the primitive human vessels his ancestors had destroyed centuries ago. These were sophisticated warships that radiated power and advanced technology. Open a communication channel, Brudok ordered, trying to maintain his composure. The main screen flickered, and the face of a human woman appeared. Dr. Elena Vasquez looked directly at the Corvani captain with eyes that held 2 centuries of pain and determination. Corvani vessels, she said, her voice calm but filled with unmistakable authority, you are trespassing in human space. Withdraw immediately. Captain Brudok laughed, though the sound was forced. Human space? There are no humans left. We eliminated your species 200 years ago. Elena's expression did not change. You eliminated some of us, Captain. But humans are remarkably difficult to kill completely. We survived, we learned, and we grew stronger. Impossible, Brudok snarled. Even if some humans survived, you could never match the might of the Corvani Empire. We have ruled this galaxy for 1,000 years. Captain, Elena said quietly, you ruled this galaxy when humans were primitive and divided. That time is over. Without warning, the human ships opened fire. But these were not the crude kinetic weapons or energy beams that the Corvani expected. The human ships unleashed weapons that seemed to tear holes in space itself. Particle beams that could phase through traditional shielding struck the Corvana vessels with devastating effect. The Deathbringer, pride of the Corvana fleet, was crippled in seconds. Its shields collapsed under the assault, and its weapons systems were systematically destroyed. Around the fleet, similar scenes played out as human technology proved overwhelmingly superior to Corvani equipment. Impossible, Brudok whispered as his ship shook under the human attack. Our shields should be able to withstand any attack. On the human flagship, Dr. Vasquez watched the battle with grim satisfaction. 200 years of technological development, she said to her crew. 200 years of learning from our defeat. We promised ourselves this day would come. The battle lasted less than 10 minutes. When it was over, the entire Corvani investigation fleet was disabled. Not destroyed, but completely helpless. The human ships surrounded the crippled Corvani. Vessels like predators circling wounded prey, Elena opened communication channels to all the Corvani ships. Corvani commanders, your vessels are disabled but your crews are alive. We could have destroyed you all, but humans are not the monsters you are. You will return to your empire and deliver a message. Captain Brudok, his pride shattered along with his ship, managed to speak. What message? Asterisk. Tell your leaders that humanity has returned. Tell them that the species they tried to exterminate has become something they cannot comprehend. Tell them that we remember every world you burned, every life you took, every child you murdered. Elena paused, her voice becoming harder. And tell them that if they want to survive what is coming, they need to prepare for war. Because the humans they tried to destroy are no longer the humans they once knew. The human ships began to withdraw, disappearing back into stealth mode as suddenly as they had appeared. The disabled Corvani vessels were left drifting in space, their crews struggling to repair their ships and their shattered understanding of the galaxy. As Captain Brutok worked to restore communications, he realized that everything had changed. The Corvani Empire had spent 2 centuries believing they were the dominant force in the galaxy. Now they had discovered that they had awakened something far more dangerous than they could have imagined. The humans were not only alive, they had evolved into something terrifying. And they were coming for revenge. In the depths of space, the human fleet regrouped around Haven Prime. Dr. Elena Vasquez stood once again in her laboratory, but now she was no longer hiding. The secret was out. The Corvani knew that humanity had survived and grown strong. Dr. Vasquez, Dr. Park approached her with a concerned expression. The Corvani will mobilize their entire empire against us. We may have superior technology, but they have numbers we cannot match. Elena looked out at the human fleet, her life's work finally revealed to the galaxy. James, for 200 years we have prepared for this moment. We have built not just ships, but an entire civilization dedicated to one purpose, ensuring that what happened to Earth never happens again. She turned to face her assistant. The Corvani Empire is about to learn what happens when you try to exterminate humanity. They are about to discover that we are not the same species they almost destroyed. In the distance, more human ships were emerging from hidden construction facilities throughout the system. The true scope of humanity's secret civilization was finally being revealed. Signal all fleet commanders, Elena ordered. It is time to show the galaxy what humans have become. It is time for the Corvani Empire to face the consequences of their actions 2 centuries ago. The message went out across the hidden human territories, reaching colonies and fleets that had been secretly growing in strength for generations. The Great Cleansing was about to be answered with something the Corvani had never faced before: humanity united, technologically advanced, and seeking justice for the billions who had died. The galaxy was about to witness the return of humanity. And the Corvani Empire would never be the same. The Reckoning Fleet. The emergency session of the Corvani High Council had been in session for 18 hours. The massive chamber, carved from black crystal deep within the Imperial Palace, had never witnessed such chaos. Hundreds of the Empire's most powerful leaders argued, shouted, and demanded answers that no one could provide. Empress Valkara sat on the obsidian throne, her 8-foot frame draped in the ceremonial armor of her ancestors. Her deep purple skin had darkened to almost black, a sign of extreme stress in the Corvani species. For 1,000 years, her family had ruled the greatest empire in the known galaxy. Now, in a single day, everything had changed. Silence at her voice boomed across the chamber, enhanced by the throne's amplification systems. The arguing council members immediately fell quiet. General Brutax, present your analysis of the situation. General Brutax, the Empire's supreme military commander, stepped forward. His battle-scarred body bore the marks of 100 campaigns. In his 600 years of service, he had never seen anything like the reports from the Terran sector. Your Imperial Majesty, he began, his voice carefully controlled, the reports from Captain Brutok's investigation fleet are unprecedented. The humans have not only survived our cleansing operation, but they have developed technology that far exceeds our own capabilities. Murmurs rippled through the council chamber. Many of the assembled leaders had been alive during the Great Cleansing. They remembered the humans as a primitive species that had barely achieved faster-than-light travel. How is this possible? Demanded Admiral Catherine, commander of the Second Fleet. Our ancestors eliminated the human threat completely. We destroyed their homeworld, their colonies, their entire civilization. Apparently, General Brutax replied grimly, we did not destroy all of them. Intelligence suggests that some humans escaped to hidden systems beyond our sensor range. They have spent the last 2 centuries building a secret civilization dedicated to one purpose: revenge. Empress Valkara leaned forward on her throne. What are we facing, General? What is the size of this human threat? Your Majesty, our surviving scouts report that the human fleet consisted of over 300 vessels, each one technologically superior to our most advanced ships. But that may not be their full strength. Long-range sensors are detecting massive industrial activity throughout the Terran sector. They may have thousands of ships. The council chamber erupted again. The idea that the humans, a species they had considered extinct, might possess a fleet larger than many Corvani battle groups was almost incomprehensible. Enough! Empress Valkara stood from her throne. General Brutax, mobilize the Imperial Armada. Every ship, every fleet, every vessel capable of combat. We will end this human threat once and for all. Meanwhile, in the hidden system that humans, now called New Terra, Captain Marcus Chen stood on the bridge of the UHS Defiance, humanity's most advanced battleship. The vessel was a monument to human engineering, stretching nearly 2 miles in length and bristling with weapons that could tear apart space itself. Marcus was a tall man with silver hair and eyes that had seen too much war. His family had been among the survivors of the Great Cleansing, and he had spent his entire life preparing for this moment. As the supreme commander of the human defense fleet, he carried the hopes and dreams of every human who had died 2 centuries ago. Captain, his tactical officer, Lieutenant Sarah Kim, approached with a data pad. Long-range sensors are detecting massive movement in Corvani space. It looks like they are mobilizing their entire military. Marcus studied the display. The Corvani were moving ships from every corner of their empire, concentrating them in a massive staging area near the border of what had once been human space. How many ships? Current estimates suggest over 50,000 vessels, sir. The largest military force ever assembled in galactic history. Marcus felt a chill run down his spine. 50,000 ships. Even with their technological advantages, humanity's fleet of 2,000 vessels would be hopelessly outnumbered. Signal all fleet commanders, Marcus ordered. Emergency council meeting in 1 hour. And contact Dr. Vasquez. We need to discuss our options. An hour later, the holographic forms of humanity's military leaders materialized in the Defiance's war room. Admiral Janet Foster, commander of the Second Fleet, spoke first. Marcus, we all know the numbers. 50,000 against 2,000. Even with our technological superiority, we cannot win a straight battle. The Corvani are expecting us to meet them in traditional fleet combat, added Admiral Kevin Torres, commander of the Third Fleet. They are preparing for the largest space battle in history. Dr. Elena Vasquez, now serving as humanity's chief scientific advisor, activated a holographic display of the galaxy. The Corvani are making the same mistake they made 2 centuries ago. They are underestimating human ingenuity. She manipulated the display, showing the hidden human colonies throughout the galaxy. For 200 years, we have not just been building ships. We have been building a civilization. A civilization that the Corvani cannot even imagine. Marcus studied the display. How many people, Elena? 200 million humans, Marcus. Spread across 47 hidden systems. Each system equipped with the most advanced technology in the galaxy. The Corvani think they are facing a small fleet of survivors. They have no idea they are about to face an entire civilization. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Humanity had not just survived the Great Cleansing. They had thrived. 3 weeks later, the Corvani Imperial Armada assembled in the Nexus system, a massive staging area that had been chosen for its strategic position. Empress Valkara herself had come to witness the destruction of humanity. Her flagship, the Eternal Conquest, was the largest vessel ever built by the Corvani Empire. General Brutax stood beside his Empress on the bridge, watching as 50,000 ships formed into battle formation. The Armada stretched across space like a metal ocean, its combined firepower capable of destroying entire star systems. Your Majesty, General Brutax reported, all fleets are in position. We are ready to advance into the Terran sector and eliminate the human threat. Asterisk. Empress Valkara nodded. Begin the advance. Today, we finish what our ancestors started. The massive Corvani fleet began moving toward what they believed was the remnant of human space. But as they approached the border, something unexpected happened. Space itself seemed to shimmer and bend, and suddenly the Corvani found themselves surrounded. Human ships appeared from every direction, materializing out of what seemed like empty space. But these were not just the few hundred vessels the Corvani had expected. Thousands of human ships surrounded the Corvani Armada, their sleek hulls gleaming with advanced armor and their weapons systems glowing with barely contained energy. Impossible, General Brutax whispered. Where did they all come from? On the bridge of the UHS Defiance, Captain Marcus Chen smiled grimly. Cloaking technology, courtesy of 2 centuries of technological development. The Corvani never learned to detect our stealth systems. Lieutenant Sarah Kim checked her tactical display. Sir, we have them completely surrounded. 4,000 human vessels against their 50,000. Still outnumbered, but not as badly as they think. Marcus opened a communication channel to the Corvani flagship. The face of Empress Valkara appeared on the main screen, her expression showing shock and disbelief. Empress Valkara, Marcus said, his voice carrying across space to the Corvani fleet. I am Captain Marcus Chen of the Human Defense Fleet. You are surrounded and outgunned. Surrender now, and your crews will be spared. The Empress's shock quickly turned to rage. Surrender? You dare demand the surrender of the Corvani Empire? We have ruled this galaxy for 1,000 years. Your reign ends today, Marcus replied calmly. You made one critical mistake, Empress. You failed to completely exterminate humanity. And humans never forget. We never forgive. And we never give up. Empress Valkara's face contorted with fury. You are still outnumbered. Even with your hidden ships, we have more vessels than you can possibly defeat. Marcus smiled. Empress, you are thinking like a Corvani. You believe that victory comes from having more ships, more weapons, more soldiers. But humans have learned something different. Victory comes from being smarter, more adaptive, and more determined than your enemy. He gestured to Lieutenant Kim, who activated humanity's secret weapon. Around the Corvani fleet, the human ships began to glow with an energy that the aliens had never seen before. What you are seeing, Marcus continued, is quantum field manipulation technology. Each of our ships can generate localized space distortions. We can bend space, redirect energy, and create gravitational anomalies at will. To demonstrate, one human ship created a gravitational pulse that disabled an entire Corvani battle group without firing a single shot. The Corvani vessels found themselves unable to move, their engines overwhelmed by the artificial gravity fields. Your weapons cannot lock onto us, Marcus explained as human ships began to phase in and out of normal space. Your shields cannot stop our particle beams. Your engines cannot match our quantum drives. Empress, you are not just outnumbered by our technology. You are outclassed. General Brutax stared at his instruments in horror. Your Majesty, our weapons systems cannot acquire targets. Their ships are moving through dimensions we cannot access. And their weapons are passing through our shields as if they do not exist. The demonstration continued as human ships systematically disabled Corvani vessels without destroying them. Weapons systems failed, engines shut down, and communication arrays went offline. The pride of the Corvani Empire was being methodically dismantled by technology they could not comprehend. This is impossible, Empress Valkara whispered. How can a primitive species develop such advanced technology? Marcus's expression hardened. We were primitive when you tried to exterminate us, Empress. But humans have one advantage you never understood. When we are pushed to the edge of extinction, we do not just survive. We evolve. He activated another display, showing the hidden human colonies throughout the galaxy. For 200 years, every human child has been educated in science, engineering, and military tactics. Every human adult has contributed to our technological advancement. Our entire civilization has been focused on one goal, ensuring that what you did to us never happens again. The scope of humanity's hidden civilization was staggering. 47 star systems, each one a center of advanced technology and industrial production. Billions of humans working together with a unity that the fractured Corvani Empire could never achieve. You have a choice, Empress, Marcus said. Surrender now, and we will negotiate a peace treaty. Continue fighting, and we will demonstrate the full extent of human military capability. Empress Valkara looked around her bridge at the faces of her officers. Fear had replaced confidence. The invincible Corvani Empire was helpless against human technology. What are your terms? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Complete withdrawal from all former human territories. reparations for the billions of humans killed during the Great Cleansing, and recognition of the Human Federation as an equal power in the galaxy. General Brutax stepped forward. Your Majesty, we cannot accept such terms. The Empire has never surrendered. Marcus's voice cut through the argument. General, your Empire is about to learn what humans learned 2 centuries ago. Sometimes survival requires accepting terms you do not like. The communication channel fell silent as the Corvanu leadership struggled with the reality of their situation. Around them, 50,000 ships sat helpless, their weapons useless and their crews frightened. Finally, Empress Valkara spoke. We accept your terms, Captain Chen. The Corvani Empire surrenders. The words echoed across space, transmitted to every ship in both fleets. For the first time in galactic history, the mighty Corvani Empire had been defeated. As the human fleet began to withdraw, Marcus reflected on the journey that had brought them to this moment. 2 centuries ago, humanity had been a young species, primitive and divided. The Great Cleansing had nearly destroyed them completely, but humans had done what humans do best. They had survived, adapted, and grown stronger. They had taken the worst tragedy in their history and turned it into the foundation for something greater. The galaxy would never be the same. The age of Corvani dominance was over. The age of humanity had begun. On the bridge of the UHS Defiance, Lieutenant Sarah Kim looked out at the stars. Captain, what happens now? Marcus smiled. Now we build a better galaxy, Lieutenant. One where no species ever again faces extinction simply for existing. The Human Federation had been born from the ashes of the Great Cleansing. And like humanity itself, it would endure, adapt, and thrive among the stars. Asterisk.